YouTube faithful, acknowledge me. Today, we're going to talk about the NBA slate just like each and every day, but today is going to be a quick video. I'm going to discuss fantasy scores. I'm going to talk about my favorite play today, and then I'm going to get on out of here. And if there's any justice in the world, Captain Crush will be holding a 7-iron in his hands and pounding the fairways and hitting crispy shots up onto the green in about an hour and a half, baby. Let's break it down after that abysmal Taco Tuesday. Yes, sir. So as most of you know, you might have gotten a special promotion from Prize Picks today, a protected player, whatever have you. Sleeper has a Luka Doncic promo going on there with a max of 10. Yesterday, speaking of max, Maxey sold his Goblin. He sold the Taco. He cost me personally well over $180. You can't stand people who vote for tacos that are in one of the worst game environments, but it is what it is. I have a stance. I take all discounts, whether I like it, love it, or hate it. As I always tell everybody, this is the life we've chosen, but at the end of the day, the Captain Crush's play of the day, De'Aaron Fox, he cashed it all. PRA, points, turnovers, all of it, baby. He cashed it all. So if you would have just taken Crush's play of the day and paired it with the 3 tacos, 2 out of the 3 tacos hit, you would have profited. Miss me with any tiers of anything else, because at the end of the day, when all the smoke is cleared, if the play of the day hits, then I did my job. That's it. Everything else is bonus round. Miss me with all of that garbage. So like I said, I'm going to be flying through this video today. And the first man that I want to talk about comes from a poverty game, Detroit versus Toronto. 2 poverty teams going to play, and one of them's going to be left standing. Now, Cade Cunningham is most likely my thumbnail because I'm gambling today. I don't like taking Cade as the play of the day, but you know what? When the chips are down, you got to do something crazy. And Cade Cunningham, you just made the list. Now, let me see if I can convince anyone else to get on board with Cade Cunningham. Now, full disclosure, Captain Crush locked him in at 35.5 PRA. They moved his line all the way up to 36.5. So now we got to find something else for the people. Now, if you use Parlay Play Chalkboard, you can use alternate lines, even you Hard Rock Bet people. And I would suggest you taking it at 35.5 or 34.5. Okay, so here we have his PRA on Outlier Bet. We could see the overall, it looks crispy, right? But we have to filter it by point guard. And as you can see, not so crispy with the points allowed. Third out of 30 ain't hitting, chief, but they do give up a lot of rebounds to point guards. They do give up a lot of assists, and overall they're all right. We look at the head-to-heads. They last played on 12-30-23 where he dropped 45. I don't really consider that too much. I don't really give that a whole lot of weight. My favorite play was gonna be his R plus A. First it was the PRA at 35.5, then his R plus A at 12.5. They bumped it to 13, and I'm telling you, it's probably going to 13.5 by the closing line. Okay, I hope it goes back to 12.5, but I won't hold my breath. So you say, Captain Crush, what's the deal? What are we doing? Well, let's go check out the spread like we always should. It's a 3.5 point spread. It's a decent point total. 232 is crispy. So there's only one thing left to do, baby, and that's decide what do we do with Cade Cunningham. Now, let me bust out my handy-dandy notepad and see what she has to say, because Captain Crush took some notes pre-game. And here we go. We got Cade Cunningham, 1.22 fantasy points per minute with a 30% usage rate. The ball's going to be in Cade's hands 30% of the time. You love to see it. That gives us opportunity for assists, points, and everything else of fantasy goodness. So maybe we got to go right over here to 40.5 fantasy score, but this does have its drawbacks because remember, he does get turnovers. So you can decide. Captain Crush is telling you right here, right now, you can eat the bump on his PRA. You can eat the bump at 13 rebounds plus assist. You could take his P plus A. Whatever you do, it's all in the mix. Again, my favorite is his points, rebounds, assists at 35.5. If you find it, you put it in the mix. Put it in your veins, baby. If you can't find it, then maybe you go to one of these other options. Cade, we need you to come through. I'm not interested in your poverty coach. I'm not interested in your poverty offense, and I dang sure ain't interested in you selling my slip today or any else of the YouTube faithfuls. So, Cade, I'm begging you to come through, do what needs to be done, get us a W one more time, and then I'll leave you alone. I'm crazy for making Cade Cunningham the thumbnail. For even talking about Cade Cunningham, I have a screw loose. But like I said, as OG Mudbone says, minor setbacks call for major comebacks. And as Wanna says, sometimes you just got to do something crazy. So let's get this show moving, all right? We got a couple other ones that I'm going to discuss here. Next, I like to talk about buy low spots. Now, one thing stands out like a sore thumb, and it's none other than Donnie Mitchell. Is he playing tonight? Is he going to be limited? Nobody knows. We have to wait and see. But if Donnie gets cleared with no minutes restriction, 38 fantasy points is a steal. And I'm telling you right now, Donnie can crush 38 fantasy points. Wait on this. Wait and see if he gets any minutes restriction or if he plays at all. You have to stay tuned. We will discuss this in the live stream later today. And just an FYI, the live stream might be at around 6 tonight because Captain Crush might be on that golf course enjoying the daylight saving time, baby. But one other thing is a buy low spot. You want to talk about a man that's been selling everybody left, right, center. They've been blowing people out in his defense. But when I see CJ McCollum at 27 fantasy score, I got to go slap my head, slap my grandma, and be like, whoa, what's going on here? Because that's a smidge too low. It's a buy low spot. My man McCollum commands a 1.11 fantasy points per minute with a 23% usage rate. Yeah, that usage rate ain't that great for a point guard, but the fact is, 27 fantasy points for a guy that has a 1.11 fantasy point per minute is just too low. Do I need to break out the calculator, chat? Do I need to do it? Let me cook the calculator real quick for the YouTube faithful. All right, so we take 1.11, we multiply it times 30. Bang, you get 33.3. Lucky 33.3. So as you can see, on average, old CJ's going to cover. This is a buy low spot. We want to look for those things. And again, if Donnie gets in the mix, you have a 1v1 right there, point blank. I like it. Again, I'm going to wait on news. We'll discuss more in the live stream later today at 6 Central, baby. Now, the next game that I'm going to talk about is Golden State versus Dallas. Now, really, do I even need to tell you guys about Luka? He's always in the mix. We got him last night in the court, his first half at 27.5 PRA. It's now 29. If you want to gamble and take the bump on Luka, you can. I'm never going to talk you off Luka. At this stage of the game, I think that his 20.5 R+A, remember, if he gets a triple-double, he's going to have to get 10 rebounds and 10 assists. That puts him at 20. And then if he gets one more of each, he'll land on 21. So I think this one is okay just for the narrative fact he's been getting triple doubles like nobody's business. What he's doing right now, he already made history, but what he's doing is absolutely insane, folks. You're watching history take place in real time. His PRA is always in the mix, but here's the fly in the ointment, to be honest with you. The spread is 7.5. It's a trash spread. You can't trust the Warriors, especially on the road, but I will say this. If you were to take any of the road Warriors, you'd want to look at Chris Paul. His PRA at 24.5 stands out. It's a little bit too low. If the game happens to stay close, he could absolutely cover his PRA and his fantasy score as well. He has 40-point upside and 30-point points, rebounds, assists upside. His R+A is always in the mix, but again, the spread scares me. But remember, we can't be a slave to these spreads. We have to use them as a guide. So if you have a gut call and you think, hey, this game's gonna stay close, Crush, then those are the two guys you'd want to get in the mix with. You'd want to dibble and dabble with, if you will. Chris Paul and Luka, that's your 1v1. I think it's crispy. And real quick, let me do a shout out to the dunks real quick because Captain Crush has been slaying the dunks, baby. Chet, Cash, Wemby, Push, what are you gonna do? But Andrew Wiggins, I think he doesn't get a dunk in Dallas today on the road because his minutes have been all over the place. So I would likely take less here. Again, this is one slip max now. Don't get carried away. And then they had Anthony Davis at 2.5. If he does come back on the board, obviously you can take Anthony Davis at 2.5 dunks versus the Kings. It's always in the mix. But again, I don't think they're going to put it back on the board. And if they do, it'll probably go to 3. But that's all I got to say about that, Eddie. Acknowledge me. Now we got to go talk about the Miami game versus the Denver Nuggets. And there's a couple of things to discuss here. And that's Bam Adebayo. We could possibly look at taking under there. I'm not going to go into a deep dive on that. And then we have Denver Nugget roulette. We have Michael Porter Jr. We have his fantasy score, his real points, his rebounds. It's all in the mix. His fantasy score is absolutely in the mix. He's averaging 0.98 fantasy points per minute with a 20% usage rate. So if he plays 30 30 minutes, likely he covers. You also have the soon-to-be wagon, Jamal Murray, at 38.5 fantasy score, and I know everybody's going to see these last 5 and get feeling some type of way. 55, 56, 39, 49, 48. Is Jamal Murray back? Do we have a healthy Jamal Murray? Let me tell you something. If you think the game's going to be good, it's going to be a pace down spot. It's low tempo. Miami Heat, they play slow and sluggish. However, if the game stays close and it becomes a shootout match, you can bet everything you got that Jamal Murray is in the mix at 38.5 fantasy score. He averages 1.24 fantasy points per minute with a crispy and astonishing 27% usage rate. So you got to consider Jamal Murray. I'm not going to go into deep dive on Joker or Gordon, but those guys are always in the mix. And on the other side of that coin, Terry Rozier commands a 1.11 fantasy point per minute with a 26% usage rate. That would be somebody that you could consider running it back with. Sometimes he gets hot, sometimes he decides to sell, but when I saw 29, it seemed a little bit too low for me for his ceiling potential. He has a 50-point ceiling, as you can see he did on March 7th against Dallas. So if I was going to take anyone from the Miami Heat, it would be Rozier, assuming the injury news stays where it's at, and then Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr. from the other side of that coin. Now, if you're new to my channel, you may say, like, so what are we supposed to take? You're just getting... I'm not here to just spoon feed you a slip. If you want that, you can join my Cord. What I am here to do is get you thinking the right way and get you making the right decisions day after day and help you formulate a winning process, buddy. If you like the cut of my jib, go ahead and subscribe. And for you that have been here, the YouTube faithful, I appreciate you smashing the like. Yesterday, you acknowledged Captain Crush 202 times. We had 202 likes, baby. It's in the mix. It's hitting. I appreciate you guys for that. You were doing the Lord's work. And if you do want to get in Captain Crush's Discord, you go to CaptainCrush.net, you scroll on down to the gold package, you click buy now, bang, 1 month, $24.99. You get Captain Crush's projection sheets that look just like this. Player, fantasy, points, all of it. It looks just like this, baby. And then you get my playlist itself, which look like this under the daily props tab. They also get sent straight to your phone. NBA overnight yesterday, Brunson, that was a blowout. Sold Edwards Cash, Hallie Cash, Key George Cash, and Chet Cash. 4 of 5 on the overnight. That would have been 2x right there. The other ones were 6 of 9 and 3 of 5. The hit rate stayed over 59 to 62%. And then on top of that, you get access to the live streams way down here, which Captain Crush does Monday through Friday with a splash of Saturday, and I give a master class 1v150. There's usually 150 of you in there. I answer all the questions. We break the slate down even more. We make plays. We do it all, and we get in the mix. Now, I'm going to shout out. There's a bunch of people that had W's yesterday, and I'm not gonna go through here because I got to get out of here. I'm trying to get to the golf course, but I appreciate you said Fox. It was always Fox. It was always Fox. You should be overexposed to the play of the day, but one person that came back into the Cord, he's hilarious. Sometimes he annoys the heck out of me, but most of the time he's making me laugh, and that's Goat James over here. Absolutely comes back into the Cord unannounced with the Eric Bischoff gif, and it had me rolling on the floor laughing. If you're an old school wrestling fan, you would know what it's about. But he took Chet and he took George. He has to use Hard Rock now because he lives in Florida and he's playing with Hard Rock. That's all he's got, and he's finding a way to get W's. So James, you just made the YouTube, buddy. Congratulations. I'm acknowledging you on the tube. You've been acknowledged, little bro. And if y'all want to know the type of day it was yesterday, I had a net loss, but Yodi of all people had a W. He paired the taco with the dunk, Chet dunk. Imagine if Yodi would have tailed the dunk that I gave him and my play of the day, De'Aaron Fox. Yodi would have had a crispy 5x, but no, he has to settle for a 3x. But whenever Yodi wins, it's always a good day. Is a Yodi giveaway loading, chat? Yodi giveaway loading? Captain Crush does giveaways when I lose. Is someone going to step up and do giveaways when they win? Question mark, Yodi? I'm just kidding, Yodi. You keep that coin. You need it more than anyone else does. I promise you that, buddy. Now, let's see what else we got to talk about in the mix. Well, actually, there is a lot left to talk about, but I want to keep this video short, so you're going to have to be in that live stream, Papa. But let me see if there's one more I can talk about before I get on out of here. Okay, I gotta discuss this real quick, okay? Nick Richards, 27 fantasy score. Now check this out. I've never seen abysmal. Look at this, chat. Look at this. I'm telling you to look at this. 202 point total in today's NBA. It's March 13th, 2024. A 202 point total? Are you kidding me right now? But the spread is juicy. 2.5 points. So what are we going to do, chat? Well, I ain't going to have much exposure to this, but I'll tell you this right now. I went back. Captain Crush, he watches all the games live, or he goes back on Game Pass and watches the condensed version. Memphis has no offense. They literally just have a bunch of G League players that sit back, get it on the fast break, pop back, bang, shoot threes, and if they go in, that is what they do. That is how they were able to handle the Wizards yesterday. They couldn't miss threes, and the Wizards just didn't shoot. Jordan Poole only shot like 9 times. They've been losing games recently, and what's happening is Jordan Poole's efficiency in production, he was coming off the bench crushing. Now he's back to his old Jordan Poole ways, and that's why they're losing games. It correlates perfectly. Coach needs to get on Jordan Poole's rear end and tell him, buddy, you got to take those shots. You can't be shooting 9 times a game. That ain't hitting. You're a shooter. The only shooting guard in America that takes a total of 8 to 9 shots in the last 2 games. It's pathetic. It's a sell job. They finally put up Jordan Poole's 3-point and field goal attempts, and he only chucks up 7 and then 9. Nah, miss me with that. Sell job, okay? But the Hornets, Grizzlies, poverty. If you want to take shots on those G League scrubs, you can. But the reason I'm mentioning this game is because you got to consider Nick Richards. There's nobody that's going to be able to stop. Jaren Jackson's out. They don't have any real true big man that Richards shouldn't be able to handle. So his rebounds plus assists, let me find Nick Richards. Miles Bridges as well. I liked Miles Bridges, but they bumped him to heaven. But Nick Richards, his fantasy score, his R plus A, his P plus R. I got his P plus R at 19.5. His RA at 10.5. He should be able to hit this. I would be shocked if he doesn't get to have a good game. I mean, if the game blows out, then yeah, all bets are off, but all these need to be considered, okay? Remember, it is bumped. I got it before the bump, so you got to make that decision. And then Miles Bridges, as much as I hate it, he has to be considered. I got his RA at 11.5. Then they moved it to 12. I posted it and at 11.5, and then they moved it all the way to 12.5. A full point bump. You hate to see it, but you still got to consider Miles Bridges. I'm not sure what to tell you guys to take because the game is poverty, so I'm probably just going to stick with Richards, but I would tell you guys to at least consider Miles Bridges, okay? And then there's 2 late night hammer games today from Portland. Brogdon might be in the mix, and if he is in the mix, then things change, but you're going to want to take a look at that game. They're facing the Atlanta Hawks. That's always crispy, fast-paced, no defense, and DeAndre Ayton just might be hitting the spot for old Captain Crush tonight. I'm not sure what I'm going to take of Ayton yet. I'm hoping they move the lines down in my favor so I can attack, but it's seeing that it's a 9 o'clock Central game. I got 6 hours to decide. I got 6 hours to plan my attack, and I will do so, and I hope to see you guys on the live stream. Hopefully you had a good time. Hopefully Captain Crush opened your eyes to something. I'm here for you. I do my best. I don't get it right all the time. Somebody called me out and said my picks are trash, which I think it's hilarious, bro, because it's not my job to just come here and force feed you picks. Do your own thing. Use this as a tool. Use your own reads and do everything else. I'm just here to help you out and give you that leg up in the process, and I enjoy what I do, fella. So as always, CaptainCrush.net gold package gets you into the dub club. Look at this, 2.3k subs. Captain Crush, it's trending. I offer plenty of discounts. I hope to see you guys in the mix. Remember to subscribe and smash the like. Leave your boy a comment. Do the Lord's work. Remember, you acknowledged Captain Crush 202 times yesterday, and I'm very thankful. Here's the salute. And as always, my brothers and sisters in Christ, let's crush Wacky Wednesday one time.